Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. It's a big night for both AEW and NXT as each promotion puts on the first night of a two-night special event. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at night one of AEW's Fyter Fest and NXT's Great American Bash, recapping the matches and analyzing the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Wrestlelamia will analyze each show separately and let you decide which one was the best. AEW Fyter Fest. MJF and Wardlow vs. Jurassic Express. MJF cuts a scathing in-ring promo on Jurassic Express before the match. Excellent opener as neither team can get the advantage for long. MJF's attempt to use his diamond ring on his opponents backfires when he's knocked into Wardlow. It takes a lot to keep Wardlow down, but a chokeslam by Luchasaurus, a kick, and a moonsault do the trick. Your winners, Jurassic Express. AEW Women's Championship match. Hikaru Shida defends against Penelope Ford. Ford shows why she's one of the better female wrestlers in AEW, but Shida is just a bit better tonight, getting the win with the running knee. Your winner and still champion, Hikaru Shida. TNT Championship match. Cody, with Arn Anderson, defends against Jake Hager with Catalina. Jake Hager shrugs off Cody's offense, showing his incredible resilience. Hager's counter wrestling shows too, as he escapes a crossroads, locking in the arm triangle. Rhodes shows his experience advantage though as he rolls Hager up, getting the victory. Your winner, and still TNT champion, Cody Rhodes. Hager is unaware that he lost, and when he finds out, he slugs the referee. Hype video for Darby Allin. Private Party with Matt Hardy vs. Proud and Powerful. The Inner Circle's tag team specialists bring it to Private Party's Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, but Santana and Ortiz come up short. Cassidy and Quinn hit the gin and juice and get the win, as well as an AEW World Tag Team Championship match next week. Your winners, Private Party. After Private Party's win, Chris Jericho is irate and tries to start a fight with Orange Cassidy. Fortunately, a small mob of wrestlers keep Jericho at bay while Cassidy walks away. We learned that Jon Moxley will defend the AEW World Championship on 15th July at Fight for the Fallen rather than at Night 2 of Fyter Fest. Taz and his client Brian Cage make their way to the ring, where Taz questions Moxley's decision to stay home, saying he doesn't have the virus, but a case of the chicken shits. AEW World Tag Team Championship, Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega defend against Best Friends. AEW books its wrestlers to look strong even in defeat, and tonight's tag match lives up to this formula as Best Friends Trent and Chuck Taylor come close to winning, but a hug before they win proves a bit premature. Page hits the Deadeye, then the Buckshot Lariat, getting the pinfall on Trent. Your winners, and still AEW Tag Team Champions, Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. After the match, FTR hit the ring with beers and offer a toast to Page and Omega. Page gladly drinks, but when Omega empties the beer on the floor, FTR take offense. The Young Bucks show up and try to keep the peace, but it's obvious there's a lot of tension. The good. A pay-per-view feel. Fyter Fest had a pay-per-view feel whether it was the pyrotechnics or the fans, that is the wrestlers cheering and booing during the matches. Of course, that was just window dressing and the real quality was in the show's matches. Minivan Mom. AEW doesn't always take itself seriously, and while that may offend traditionalists like Jim Cornette, it can make for some hilarious moments for the majority of AEW fans. Best Friends getting dropped off at the arena by Trent's mom was a funny bit and did nothing to detract from the match or wrestling. Le Champion shines again. Chris Jericho's color commentary was equally obnoxious and equally fun as he showed why he'll be a future great should he join the announce booth when he hangs up his boots. Not only did Jericho play a good heel commentator, but he helped further his program against Orange Cassidy. A strong tag division. Just as one of NXT's strong suits is its women's division, AEW's tag team division is one of its assets. Tonight's show featured 3 solid tag team matches, and that's not even including the Young Bucks or FTR. AEW was wise in showcasing its tag team stars tonight, just as NXT was in promoting its women. The bad. Awful officiating. AEW's questionable, who we kidding, awful officiating saw interference that normally would have earned a disqualification but was instead ignored. Marco Stunt's blatant interference during the MJF and Wardlow vs. Jurassic Express match was puzzling to say the least, and exposed one of AEW's biggest flaws: its inconsistent officiating. It's not a case of AEW doing a heel referee storyline, it's a case of AEW not having its act together. Anything but proud and powerful. Santana and Ortiz have definitely been on a losing streak, and tonight's loss to Private Party was a reminder of how quickly the team dropped down AEW's tag team ladder after a strong debut in 2019. Granted, AEW has one of the strongest tag team divisions in any wrestling promotion, but as members of the Inner Circle, Ortiz and Santana need to pick up more wins. The downright ugly. Night 1 of Fyter Fest was a solid show from start to finish, and seemed like the undercard of a pay-per-view with some excellent matches including MJF and Wardlow vs. Jurassic Express and Cody Rhodes vs. Jake Hager. The show's other matches were good, with the exception of Shida vs. Ford, which was sloppy at times, but no big surprise given the overall quality of AEW's women's division. AEW did a good job entertaining the fans and hyping next week's show. The Great American Bash. Fatal 4-Way Elimination #1 contenders match for the NXT Women's Championship. Tegan Nox vs. Dakota Kai vs. Mia Yim vs. Candice LeRae. Mia Yim gets the first elimination, hitting the codebreaker on LeRae for the first elimination. However, Kai steals a win with a roll-up on Yim, eliminating her. It's down to Kai and Nox, but it's Nox's night as she hits the shiniest wizard, getting the 1, 2, 3. Your winner, Tegan Nox. Damian Priest cuts a promo backstage, challenging Cameron Grimes to a match tonight. Timothy Thatcher vs. Oney Lorcan. It's a wrestling classic as both Thatcher and Lorcan put on a clinic. Unfortunately, Thatcher gets Lorcan in the Fujiwara armbar for the submission. Your winner, Timothy Thatcher. Thatcher refuses to release the hold at first, but eventually relents. Handicap match. Ripley must become Stone's client if she loses. Rhea Ripley vs. Aaliyah and Robert Stone. The former NXT Women's Champion fights the 2-on-1 disadvantage, applying the cloverleaf to both her opponents, forcing them to quit. Your winner, Rhea Ripley. Strap match. Dexter Lumis vs. Roderick Strong. Dexter Lumis is an imposing figure, and even with the presence of his Undisputed Era ally Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong struggles to stay in the match. Lumis gets the win when he wraps the strap around Strong's throat and forces him to tap. Your winner, Dexter Lumis. We get interviews from the North American Champion Keith Lee and NXT Champion Adam Cole about their title versus title match next week. NXT is really hyping this one. An interview with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae breaks down when LeRae chases after Mia Yim. Swerve Scott shows up, and it's Gargano and LeRae brawling with Yim and Scott until they're finally separated. NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar is on hand with his El Legado del Fantasma henchmen Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. The champion says it's time the fans learn to respect Lucha Libre again. Drake Maverick arrives complete with the neck brace he's wearing courtesy of Escobar and his crew. Drake is brave, but doesn't stand a chance against the three heels. That is, until Breezango shows up, and even the odds as the heels take a powder. Breezango wants the heels next week. Io Shirai vs. Sasha Banks with Bayley. The NXT Women's Champion locks up in a non-title match against Sasha Banks. Bayley provides whatever interference she can, but unbeknownst to the Women's Tag Team Champions, Asuka is in the house. The Empress of Tomorrow pops up from underneath the ring and helps her friend Io out, spraying green mist into Banks' eyes. A moonsault from Io puts Banks away for the win. Your winner, Io Shirai. Asuka celebrates with her friend as NXT goes off the air. The Good. Ladies' Night. If fans want to know whether the WWE can produce an all-women's show every week, tonight's bash was a good sign that they can. Tonight's show focused on the women's division and delivered in all 3 women's matches, with a strong Fatal 4-Way to start, a fun handicap match in the middle, and a strong singles match to end the night. NXT's strong suit is its women's division, and it makes sense to showcase them along with 2 men's matches. Just enough nostalgia. The WWE threw just enough nostalgia at the fans, reminding them that Dusty Rhodes invented the Great American Bash, then offering the type of rough-and-tumble match you'd expect Dusty to book, a strap match. However, tonight's show wasn't a trip down memory lane, and it focused on the present, NXT, and their role as future superstars. A cool-looking set. NXT continues to outshine the main roster when it comes to creating aesthetically pleasing sets for their pay-per-views and special events like tonight's Bash. Why the WWE can't dress up their sets for pay-per-views just doesn't make any sense. Tonight's set looked good and enhanced what were some solid wrestling matches too. The Banks and Bayley Show. So far, the WWE hasn't overexposed Sasha Banks and Bayley by having them on all three brands, but they need to be careful. It's obvious that the WWE wants to give them maximum exposure for their eventual feud, but they need to be smart about it. The WWE needs to pull the trigger on the Banks vs. Bayley feud soon, or fans will grow tired of seeing them on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. The Bad. A meaningless main event? Okay, tonight's main event between Io Shirai and Sasha Banks wasn't meaningless, as it served the purpose of furthering Banks vs. Asuka for Extreme Rules and the slow build to Banks vs. Bayley. However, what did it do for Io Shirai? The NXT Women's Championship wasn't on the line, so Banks can claim she didn't give it 100%. Furthermore, Shirai had a tainted win, rarely a good thing for a babyface. Though the match was entertaining, whenever a main roster star battles an NXT star, it should serve a positive purpose for NXT. Otherwise, it reminds fans why NXT isn't the main roster. The Downright Ugly. Nothing ugly about tonight's show, as it furthered angles and showcased some excellent wrestling by everyone involved. While Night 2 of the Great American Bash is clearly being promoted as the bigger of the two nights, tonight's show was a strong undercard. It may not be the best way to win the ratings, we'll have to see which show fares best, but it's the strategy WWE is going with. Well guys, there you have it, Wrestlalamia's analysis of Fyter Fest and the Great American Bash Night 1. Did you watch the shows? If so, what did you think? Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.